The Bible's most terrifying creatures aren't always monsters you can see. Sometimes the greatest danger is an enemy you would never expect. Beyond popular legends lies a list of beings so strange and powerful that even ancient readers struggled to understand them. But what if their true threat has nothing to do with fangs or fire and everything to do with control and deception and the limits of human power? Let's uncover what Scripture actually says about every one of these ominous forces. Satan's threat comes not from horns or a pitchfork, but from something far more subtle. In the New Testament, he is called the father of lies. In John 8:44, Jesus says, "When he lies, he speaks out of his own character. No flames, no monstrous form, just deception." The earliest scriptures describe him as an accuser, a voice that twists truth and sows doubt. In Genesis, the serpent's words are cunning, slipping past defenses with questions that sound innocent. Later, in the book of Job, Satan appears as a challenger in the heavenly court, probing for weakness, never revealing his hand. Over centuries, art and folklore turned him into a horned beast, but the Bible's warnings are quieter and more dangerous. The real danger lies in what cannot be seen, the whisper that undermines trust, the suggestion that bends reality. His power is not brute force, but the ability to shape perception, to turn truth inside out. Scripture does not waste time on cartoon devils. It warns about the everyday risk of believing what is not real. The greatest enemy is not a monster at the gate, but the deceiver who stands unseen, turning truth against itself. In the end, the Bible's portrait of Satan is a warning. The most terrifying creature is the one that makes us doubt what is right in front of us. Deep within the visions of Revelation, another figure stands apart from the familiar names of evil. Revelation 9 verse 11 introduces him as the king over the abyss, called Abaddon in Hebrew and Apollyon in Greek. Both names mean one thing, destroyer. Unlike the deceiver who works in shadows, Apollyon is not subtle. His title alone signals his purpose. He is the agent of ruin, released only at the appointed time. The text does not describe a form or face. It gives only a name and a role to bring judgment, not chaos for its own sake. Apollyon's authority is not his own. He does not act freely. He operates under limits set by God. Even at the heart of apocalyptic terror, the boundaries are clear. The forces unleashed from the abyss answer to a higher command. The passage draws a sharp line between power and permission. No matter how terrifying the destroyer may seem, he cannot move outside the will of the one who sent him. In the ancient world, names carried weight. To call this figure Apollyon and to echo the Hebrew Abaddon is to underline that destruction itself is not random. It is directed, measured, and contained. Judgment in Revelation takes many forms, but every agent, even the destroyer, serves within a design that remains beyond human control. The abyss opens, but only when the key is given. Can you pull in Leviathan with a fish hook or tie down its tongue with a rope? That question from Job 41 verse 1 sets the tone for one of the Bible's most haunting images. Leviathan rises from the deep as chaos itself, a force no human can master. Its body is described as armoured and unbreakable, scales sealed tight, eyes that flash like the dawn. In Job's poetry, even the gods recoil when Leviathan stirs, and the sea churns with terror. Flames and smoke pour from its mouth, its breath kindling coals, an image of raw, untamable power. Alongside Leviathan stands Rahab, not a woman, but a name for the sea's wildness. In Psalms and Isaiah, Rahab is crushed by God, her name used for Egypt or any proud force that threatens order. Both Leviathan and Rahab become symbols of everything ancient people feared about the ocean. Storms that swallow ships, monsters lurking in the dark, the sense that beneath the surface lies a power beyond reason. These creatures are not just threats, they are the Bible's way of giving shape to the feeling that the world's chaos is real, and only something greater can hold it back. In the book of Job, the land itself harbours a force as untamable as any sea monster. Behemoth appears in Job chapter 40, introduced as the prime example of strength on earth. Its bones are described as tubes of bronze, its limbs like bars of iron. The creature eats grass like an ox, yet nothing can overpower it. The most striking image comes from Job chapter 40 verse 17. Its tail sways like a cedar. That phrase has puzzled readers for centuries. Some guess Behemoth might have been inspired by the hippopotamus or the elephant. Animals known for their power along the ancient rivers, but the text never settles the question. Instead, Behemoth stands as a living riddle, a giant among beasts whose sheer size and force leave humans in awe. No one can capture it or pierce its nose with a snare. The poetry insists on one thing: Behemoth is beyond human control, a living reminder that creation contains powers only its maker can command. The lesson is not in naming the beast, but in recognizing the limits of human strength when faced with what God has made. A single word in Isaiah 34 verse 14 has given rise to centuries of speculation: the word Lilith. In the original Hebrew, the term appears among a list of wild creatures haunting the ruins, translated by some as night creature or screech owl. The verse says, desert creatures will meet with hyenas, and a Lilith will rest there and find for herself a place of repose. That's the entire biblical mention. No story, no description, just a fleeting reference in a prophecy of desolation. Much later, Jewish folklore, especially the alphabet of Ben Sira written centuries after Isaiah, imagined Lilith as Adam's first wife, a rebel who fled Eden and became a demon of the night. But none of that is found in Scripture. The Bible's Lilith is a shadow, a whisper in the dark, not a named villain. It is a reminder that sometimes the most lasting monsters are born from silence, not from what the text explains, but from what it leaves unsaid. Genesis chapter 6 verse 4 names the Nephilim in a single, mysterious line. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. There is no origin story and no details about their appearance. The text gives only the label of giants or mighty ones. Numbers chapter 13 verse 33 adds only that the Israelite scouts saw themselves as grasshoppers next to these figures in Canaan. The Bible leaves their nature unexplained, fueling centuries of speculation. Later traditions spun tales of fallen angels and monstrous hybrids, but the scriptural record remains brief and enigmatic. Cherubim stand at the boundary of Eden, not as gentle figures, but as fierce guardians. Genesis chapter 3 verse 24 describes God placing cherubim and a flaming sword that turns every way to block the path to the tree of life. These beings are not the soft-winged children of paintings, but sentinels charged with protecting what is most holy. In Isaiah's vision, seraphim hover above the throne, each with 6 wings, calling to one another, saying, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory." Their presence is overwhelming, fire, flight, and unending praise. In the biblical imagination, these are not comforters, but reminders that the sacred is never ordinary, and the divine cannot be approached lightly. In Ezekiel's vision, the threat does not come from a monster, but from a leader named Gog, rising from the land of Magog in the far north. Gog gathers armies against Israel, representing the danger of human pride and ambition. The prophecy draws on the fear of powerful northern invaders, real-world empires that once loomed over ancient Israel. The warning is clear: terror is not always supernatural. Sometimes it wears the face of a conqueror. These ancient beings still provoke awe and caution, reminding us that the unknown remains part of faith. Even today, the Bible's most fearsome creatures serve one purpose: to reveal that ultimate authority belongs to God alone. Which one unsettled you most? Share your thoughts in the comments below.